By far the question that I get asked the most after how are you so handsome and how did you become a literal Greek god is how do you speak multiple languages on a native level. For the ones who don't know me, I am a trilingual speaking 3 languages. Turkish is my mother tongue, German is for like school purposes, and also I'm gonna be studying uni in Germany, and English, you know, I can build a sentence or two. So whether you are a native English speaker trying to learn another language, or you are not an English speaker but you are trying to learn English or any other language, here are the best tips and strategies I can give you as a trilingual. Now, because of the fact that this is a YouTube video, I'm not going to be able to go really deep into every topic when it comes to learning a new language fast. However, I do have a Skillshare class on this topic that covers pretty much everything when it comes to learning a new language. It includes how I personally became trilingual, my exact study system that helped me get there, my personal secrets for speaking fluently, my tricks on growing your vocabulary, like your muscles on PEDs, tricks that will skyrocket your progress, every mistake that you should be avoiding, as well as a 20-minute exclusive interview that I had with my with my English teacher, Mr. Ro, where he shares everything that he knows, not everything pretty much, but it was a really nice like 20-minute exclusive interview where he shares his secrets of learning a new language. This class teaches you everything you need to know when it comes to learning a new language from A to Z. Literally, it covers every single secret and every single tip that I have that I picked up over the 4 years of learning new languages. And the good thing is, it is free with a free trial. And I also have 2 other classes on Skillshare that I'm really proud of. And the first one is Unlocking Your Secret Productivity, how to create your perfect daily routine. And the second one is Dopamine Detox, how to truly reset your mind. No, this video is not sponsored by Skillshare, but I genuinely think that my classes are really good because I put a lot of work into them. So there's a link in the description down below if you want to check any of these classes out. I especially recommend the one, of course, the one that is about learning a new language really quickly, because I share pretty much everything that I know when it comes to just whole journey of how to learn a new language fast and quickly and how to become like fluent. I just cover everything on that. So this video is going to be essentially in 4 different parts, and the part number 1 is going to be my journey of how I became trilingual, and I'm gonna share mostly like my experiences when it comes to learning English, and I'm gonna give you like 2 breaking points that I had and 2 golden nuggets that are gonna come from those breaking points. So let's get started with me entering high school. So when I got into high school at the age of like probably 14, I didn't speak a lot of English, to be honest. I probably knew like some colors, some numbers, some animals, some fruits maybe, but after that, like I didn't really speak. I couldn't really form sentences. Like I wouldn't be able to speak. I would maybe know some words, but I wouldn't be able to speak. And that is probably the best that a Turkish, unfortunately, institutional education will be able to give to you in the first 8 years of education. But when I got into high school, we had like, because of the fact that I am in a really top level high school in my country, we had a ton of English lessons, and my first breaking point happened in the first year when I was in high school. And what happened was, we were in an English lesson, and I was sitting next to a good friend of mine whose name is Deniz, is Deniz, and we were doing like a picture description type of exercise. And the exercise is basically like this. I'm sitting here, and on the board there is a picture that I'm describing to Deniz, and then I turn my back, and then he describes another picture to me. So I don't see the picture while he's describing, and while I'm describing, he doesn't see the picture, so that like we practice our English levels before we get started in the lesson. It's like a kind of like warm-up exercise when it comes to your English. And when we did this with my buddy Deniz, at the end of the lesson, he told me like, man, your pronunciation is trash. Like your vocabulary is not that good. You gotta level up. You gotta level up if you wanna like be successful in this school, especially when it comes to this lesson, this specific lesson, English. And I told him, by the way, he spoke really good English by then. Even though he was like also like 13, 14 like me, he spoke really well English, and he probably spoke better than our like English, like American English teacher, which was weird. So I asked him for advice. Like I told him like, I want to be able to speak like you, what do I do? He's even better. Like by then, 4 years earlier, he was still better than my English regular right now, even though English is my like 2nd or 3rd language. So I told him like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get better? And he told me one advice that is gonna be the golden nugget of this breaking point. And the advice was, you need to do everything you can in that language. If you are journaling, journal in that language. If you are watching a movie, watch that movie in that language. If you're watching like YouTube content, watch that YouTube content in that language. If you're reading books, read in that language. That was essentially how he was able to get his language, English skills to that level. And then my second breaking point happened when I essentially created this channel. When I created this channel, I had to up my English game a lot because like when I made my first video, if you're a YouTuber, like your first video is gonna be your worst video. That is like the motto that we have. Your first video is gonna be your worst video. When it comes to filming, editing, camera presence, lighting, everything, your first video is gonna be really, really bad. However, I had one thing that was also terrible that other YouTubers did not have that was that terrible. So, and that thing was my language. Like I had a pretty much like big language barrier because I just wasn't able to speak English that well in the beginning of my YouTube career. So I told myself, bro, like if you want to make it on YouTube like ever, you gotta level that up. And then my English skills were like this, like it was going up a little, and then the first breaking point from of like with that situation with Dennis, and then it gets like high, and then let's say the third, like the second barrier like happens here, and the second is like me starting the channel, and then just went like skyrocketing to air. So those are two essentially things that happened, and the golden nugget that I got from the second breaking point was the fact that if you want to be able to speak fluently, if you want to sound like a native, you have to speak more. Speaking is the king when it comes to learning a new language. It is the most effective way for you to learn that language. However, we're going to be talking about that in the next parts. So let's jump into the second part, which is my exact study system when it comes to studying these languages. So if you have ever taken a test, like an official test where they tell you, oh, you are a advanced level English speaker, you are a C1, you are a B2, you are an A2, like those levels, they essentially see how good you are in 4 different components, and those 4 components are reading, I always get this wrong. When I say like 4 components and then I go reading, I always go to the 4 main habits of self-improvement and I go reading, exercising, meditation, and journaling. But there's not, these are not what they are. So the 4 components of a language is reading, speaking, listening, and writing. So you essentially, let's think about from a fitness plan concept. Let's say you have an exercising plan that you try to do. That program includes like every single exercise for all your like body except your chest. You don't train chest, you don't do any chest exercises, but you train every single one of your muscles on your body. Your physique is not gonna look that impressive. You're gonna look like kind of weird because you're not training, for example, chest or shoulders, let's say, or legs. That's also a big thing. When it comes to speaking a language, learning a language, if you are practicing reading, listening, writing, but not speaking, that's also like kind of weird. That's why the study system that I'm gonna be teaching you right now is gonna hit all of those components. So let's get started with reading. By the way, your study system is gonna be like 40 minutes in total with 10 minutes of each of those 4 components. 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of journaling, 10 minutes of writing, and 10 minutes of speaking. So when it comes to reading, you can read whatever you want, but read out loud. That's an important tip. Read out loud. Books, articles, news, anything for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of reading. And when it comes to listening, just listen to anything for 10 minutes. It can be like a YouTube video, a movie. Movie wouldn't be that nice. If you're watching like a movie like Game of Thrones, there's no speaking that much. Maybe a sitcom would be a nice thing, but we're gonna be talking about that soon. So podcast, news, anything that you can listen to in 10 minutes. And then you have speaking. When it comes to speaking, I'm gonna be like giving you essentially 2 different like ways of you can practice speaking that I did for a long time that was really enjoyable, so you can wait until the end of this video to see them. And when it comes to speaking, just talk about anything you want. Your crush on school, how a big jerk your teacher is, why your mom doesn't let you do X, I don't know, like just talk about anything you want in that language for 10 minutes. And after that we get to the writing part, and when it comes to the writing part, I generally tell people to journal. Like when I started like learning English, I have all my journals pretty much in English, and I also have some journals that are in German. And one of the things that I really like when it comes to like learning a new language was I was just journaling in that language, and journaling is fun, and like writing also gets done in like 10 minutes. Journaling, in my opinion, is the way to go. So it's like 40 minutes and 10 minutes each of those components, and that is going to be your essentially study system. So let's talk about how to become fluent, because I think that's the most important sign when it comes to speaking a language. No, if you are learning Korean, which is I guess like popular nowadays, or Japanese, because like these anime, I guess, like I don't watch anime that much. I just watched one. It was Death Note, unless a few seasons or 1 season, I don't really remember that much. A few years ago. I don't watch that stuff anymore. So when it comes to becoming fluent, there's only one thing that you have to do, and it's basically practicing speaking. Speak more. No one is gonna ask you if you're learning Japanese, oh, can you write like beautiful poems in that language? No, no one is gonna ask you that. What they're gonna ask you is, can you speak like with a Korean? Can you talk with a Korean? Can you like sit down with a guy and just like communicate? That's the thing that they're gonna ask. So we have to essentially prioritize speaking when it comes to learning a language, and that's the part number 3, how to become fluent. So when it comes to becoming fluent, I think institutional learning completely fails here. Like when I was in middle school, or also when I was in like high school as well, but my high school was like completely different than normal high schools because it was like for the best of the best of the best. So I don't really take that into consideration of average high schools. So in institutional learning, they give you like grammar exercises that you have to do, and those grammar exercises are like boring as hell, and you have to do them, and they like add genuinely nothing to you when it comes to speaking or when it comes to communicating with someone. They like teach you with gerunds and past participle constructions, and like it's just stupid. So I have to tell you this: you just have to speak, speak, and speak. That is the best way to essentially improve a language. So now I want to teach you like a great exercise you can do to essentially practice speaking, which is an exercise I did for literally 2 years, pretty much every single day. That is one of the best exercises that I've done that helped me to get here. So that exercise is a lot cringy, really cringy. So please do not roast me. Like, you can roast me in the comment section, but do not roast me that hard because it's really cringy. So I have to talk about probably the first 2 podcasts that I really like. And those 2 podcasts are, one, The Mindset Mentor by Rob Dial, and the second one is like a German podcast which is called Kein Limit, which means no limits, like a self-improvement podcast, and that was done by, I guess, Alex Giesecke and Nico Schork. So these guys are like German entrepreneurs. Why did I look at my back? Is there like... So these are like German entrepreneurs. They have a big business, the Simple Club, when it comes to education and like educational like entrepreneurs. They're really cool guys. I've never met them, like really cool guys. So these 2 podcasts are the podcasts that I really liked listening to, and these podcasts are not like 1.5 hours long per episode. These are like 20 minutes long tops per episode, which is awesome if you're learning a language. So what I used to do was I would literally sit down, turn on, for example, Spotify, and start listening to the Mindset Mentor, an episode, like, let's say, about procrastination. And while I was listening, I would take notes, like, on every idea there was, on every, like, example that he gave, Rob Dial gave. And then when I listened to that podcast, I would turn on my camera, or I would turn on my phone, or I would just open a voice recorder on my phone, and then imitate Rob Dial, like, literally behave like I am Rob Dial for 15 minutes, and behave like I am essentially giving that podcast. It's like I will take the information from there and I will give the information to there. It's like I would, if he said, do not procrastinate because of the reasons A, B, and C, I would be like, oh, you shouldn't be procrastinating because of the reasons A, B, and C. So this is like me imitating that guy for 15 minutes. Like, these are not on YouTube, like these are basically voice recordings that I had, old voice recordings, and this is incredibly good when it comes to speaking a language, because you are seeing, or if you're watching the podcast, I mean, it depends on if you're watching the podcast or not, you are basically able to see how he is mimicking, like how his mouth is moving while speaking, so that you can get to that native speaker level, and then you are pretty much telling the same things with your own words, with different like words, but you are talking about the same idea. That's a great way, in my personal opinion, to essentially get your speaking to that next level that you're looking for. And let's get to the part number 4, which is how to make learning languages a fun process itself, which is, in my personal opinion, a must-have when it comes to learning languages. Because, you know, we talk about this situation with extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation in self-improvement all the time, which means that, like, let me explain it a little bit. Let's go with the gym analogy again. So when it comes to the gym, for example, you want to be jacked, bro. Like, you want to be jacked, you want to build that muscle, you want to look like big and muscular and like a man, and that is the end goal that you have. Probably, like, if you're watching my channel, you probably have this end goal, and that is my end goal as well. Like, that's why we're working out, baby. The lighting is terrible, so my biceps don't look okay, I'm not gonna cut this, by the way. So that is the end goal that you have. However, in order for you to essentially get to that end goal, there is a process, the process of hard work. But if you do not really enjoy going to the gym, if you don't enjoy counting your calories, if you don't enjoy eating like protein-based high-calorie meals, then you are probably not gonna be able to get to that end goal, because you will probably quit on the journey. But if you really loved going to the gym, the getting to that end goal would be pretty much like impossible impossible not to get to that point. It'd be like, of course you're gonna get to that end goal because you like it, you love it, you want to put in the work. So we want to make the learning languages a fun process itself, because if we can make that happen, then you will probably get to that end goal of speaking that language at a really, really high level, and which is something that's really important. Like, I didn't talk about why learning new languages is important in this video, because I think, like, if you're watching my channel, you know the importance of it. So let's just jump into the tactic that really helped me, just like the other one, just like the podcast tactic, but this is even better. This is even better. People are talking in my head, like my mom and dad. So the trick number one is a sitcom trick, and like there are 3 sitcoms that I watched in the last like 5 years, I guess, and those sitcoms are in order: How I Met Your Mother, and then Friends, and then Big Bang Theory. I don't know my favorite which one is, but they're both like not equally good, but I like them all. So I liked them all. And when it comes to sitcoms, generally they are like 10 seasons long, and then they will have like 20-25 episodes every single season that are like 20 minutes on average. And this is perfect for essentially language growth, language improvement. So what I would do was, dude, this is a genius trick, by the way. I've never seen anyone talk about this, but maybe I came up with it, maybe someone else came up with it in the world as well, but I think like I didn't hear this from anywhere else, but I used to do this for a long time. So the trick is, you get, for example, a Friends episode, and then it's like 22 minutes, let's say. You first watch the first 4 minutes, and then you stop the episode and then talk about those 4 minutes. Let's say, oh, Joey did this, Monica was wearing this, Ross and Rachel were arguing about this, or I think they're gonna do this next, or here is what was happening. Like, you basically talk about that 4 minutes for 2 minutes, let's say, 2-3 minutes, and then you watch the following 4 minutes, and then stop again, and then talk for a couple of more minutes about the second 4 minute part. And then this basically means that the 22 minute like podcast episode, the 22 minute like sitcom episode is probably gonna be like 40 minutes for you in total, but that 40 minutes is gonna be incredibly well when it comes to your improving your listening and speaking skills, because you're gonna listen and you're gonna give like the feedback, which is like the way we want to do this. You want to see something and you want to be able to explain it with using your own words, and that's like a trick that I used to do for a long time. I didn't really tell this to a lot of people. I told this to my English teacher, and he said like that's really good, like that's a good one. And I think this is gonna be like a thing that you can use to just get your like speaking skills to the next level whilst essentially enjoying the process, because I like sitcoms. I like watching them, even though I don't have the time to do them anymore that much nowadays. However, like if you want to like improve your English or any other language, and you want to be able to like have fun while doing it, just do that. That's a good one. And the second like trick that I want to tell you is basically the study system that I told you. The study system that we talked about, like 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of reading, speaking, I was gonna again say journaling and meditation, reading, speaking, writing, and listening. You can do those things in a topic that you enjoy. Let's say you are a basketball fan, or no, let's say you are a soccer fan like me. I'm a soccer fan, to be honest. So it's not soccer, it's soccer. Yeah, you know what that is. So when it comes to football, not soccer, I like to say it's football, man. It's football. It's not soccer. American football. I'm not gonna get into that argument now. So let's say you like football. You can listen to a video. You can watch a video. You can listen to a news or anything when it comes to football, which means that it's not gonna be something that you don't enjoy. You're gonna love doing that. Or you can read a news or an article about football, which means that it's not gonna be like a chore that you have to do, rather than it's gonna be something that you enjoy doing. When it comes to speaking, you're gonna speak how well Ronaldo and Messi played this season. They didn't really play it that well. Maybe Ronaldo did, but you know, you got the point. You're gonna be able to talk in something that you talk about something that you really enjoy, which means that it's not gonna be like a chore that you have to do, but it's gonna become something that you enjoy doing, which is exactly what we want when it comes to improving your languages. And that's basically it. If you want to be really serious, like if you're really serious about learning a new language and you want to get like, this is like the 10 to 15% of the things that I like talked about in my Skillshare class, because it's already like a 22-minute video. I don't want to go really too deep into everything. However, you can check my class out from the link in the description. It's if you use a free trial, it's basically free. So I love you, I support you, keep crushing it, and watch these videos next, because I put a lot of work into my videos and I think you'll like them. I'll see you there.
En give me a fist bump, will you?